What do you have that make people know you're truly a man? What do you have? I can name some things, right? People walk in my house, they can see, okay, I'm financially successful. They look at my body, they know I'm motivated, disciplined, I'm extremely strong. They look at my world title belts, they know I can fight. They look at the woman on my arm, they know that I am worthy of respect because she treats me with absolute respect. They look at my network, they see that men treat me with absolute respect. I don't have to open my mouth and people can instantly look at me and go, okay, he has X, Y, and Z. If you couldn't talk, you put on a t-shirt, you put on some jeans, and you can't talk, and you're walking around, when people look at you, why do they see you as a high-value man? Do you have anything you project? Do you project true bravery? Do you project true confidence? Or do you need to talk to try and convince people of these things? They say confidence is quiet. It can also be very loud, but you don't want to live in a delusion. That's the first thing. So I want every single person here who's actually taking notes to think, if I can't talk, how am I judged? If I can't speak, what do people think of me? How am I projecting my value to the world if I can't say a word? I'm going to imagine that all of you know nothing, and we're talking from the complete ground up, how to become the best versions of yourself. We're going to start with charisma, because what I notice a lot of people, especially online people or people I meet in general life, they lack charisma. They lack that magic. I can sit very calmly and talk for 6 hours and get 100 million views in a very calm way. And that is done via charisma. My charisma is the reason most of you are watching me here today. And my charisma is a superpower which has allowed me to live the best possible human experience. And I will teach you all how to have charisma exactly like me. Charisma, which is magnetic and magical to females, which makes men respect you, and which makes any interaction, especially in business or anything regarding money, far easier and more obtainable. So we're going to talk about charisma overall. Charisma is basically likability. The ability to make people feel good, to care, to be in your presence, to want to be around you, and to want to engage in conversation with you. I don't know if many people understand that I must answer 0.1% of the messages I get per day. Everyone wants to talk to me. Thousands of messages a day on every single app, thousands of emails, hundreds of letters per day. Everybody wants to engage with me, and everybody wants to have a piece of my time. How you have charisma, firstly, are some basics. One of the most basic things is honor. You must do what's right because it is your duty, and for that alone. Not because you benefit from it, not because you gain from it, because it is your duty. Tristan and I do many things to our detriment, like talk on the internet. We don't need money. We don't need to help you. We don't need to save your life.
And also your word is your duty. I have said I'm not going to quit. I have said I'm going to keep talking. If I say something, I do it. So your word immediately becomes your duty. Never break your word and never go back on what you said.
Honoring your word is part of honor as a whole. That's the whole point of honoring your word. You have to know how to be reliable, dependable, and loyal. And most importantly, you can never stab anybody in the back. You can never be a snake because, one, I swear if you betray somebody and you're a snake, it's like a stench which follows you for the rest of your human years. Anybody who does business with me, and I've done business for 20, 30, $40 million, will do it on a handshake. They don't care about the contract because Andrew Tate shook their hand. Snakery, dishonesty, and treachery is always going to be despised and disgusting to men, and also by extension women. I'll give you an example. The reason Harry and Meghan argue all the time, the reason Meghan hates Harry, and you could sit them down in front of 1,000 therapists and they'll never be told the truth, but Andrew Tate, the most compendious, intelligent person on the planet, knows the truth because I understand human interaction absolutely and utterly, and I'll tell you why Meghan can't stand Harry. Because Harry sold his family out for money, and Meghan told him to do it, and he still did it, and although she instructed him to, she is still disgusted by seeing a man commit treachery, high treason on the royal family. A woman will sit there and go, I told you to betray your family and you listened, but now you're a snake. How can I trust and love a snake? How can you want to spend the rest of your life with a snake, with a traitor? Never. So by complying, by giving her what she thought she wanted and what he thought she wanted, he destroyed his own self-image in her eyes, and she will never respect him. Humans hate treachery. Me and my boys, the war room, Tristan, my friends, I could leave my girlfriend in a prison cell with them for 20 years. Nothing will happen. I bet my life on it because that's how we operate. We operate honor first. And most of you men don't have that out there. And then you wonder why women look at you and think you're a little bitch. And then you sit there and complain about women as a whole and say women are disrespectful. Well, I'll be honest with you. Most of you deserve absolute disrespect. If you were a better man, if you were the man you were supposed to be, they wouldn't be disrespecting you. You built yourself into a fucking coward. You're hanging around with a bunch of snakes. You are a snake. And you wonder why women don't want to have anything to do with you.
Let me give you a hypothetical situation. The hypothetical situation is this. You're in a police interrogation room. while your friends are in a cell. They've been questioned by the police before you. They've been interrogated before you. And the police say something stupid. Andrew, I'm not sure if you could relate to this. Like, oh, well, your brother's already told us about your crimes. Now, obviously, there's no crime, so it's a very easy thing to dismiss. But that, if a policeman ever looks me in the eyes and says, oh, you better tell me something because your brother's already talking,
you're going to have to try much harder than that. So much
harder than that. You have a 0% chance. Yeah, Andrew's making up crimes I committed and telling you.
And that's why it's so important. If you want to be charismatic, like I said earlier, you need to have honor, doing what's right because it's your duty. You need to honor your word. You need to be reliable, dependable, and loyal, and never stab anybody in the back. And I guarantee if any of you come up to me on the street, you see me on the street and say, hey, Top G, can I get a picture, etc. If you've ever sold your soul or betrayed your brother or betrayed a man you knew for some pussy or talked to your friend, your best friend's girl, or tried to fuck your friend's ex or any of this dumb shit, I will smell it on you. I will instantly be able to tell you are a worm. Do not betray people. It is never worth it in the end. Another thing I want to say is that real men are not brutes. We are not cavemen. This idea, I see a lot of people online talking like cavemen, talking like brutes. And what they're trying to do is they're masking any kindness they have, and they're afraid to be soft. They think they have to talk like a rude caveman to people because they don't have any genuine bravery. And what they're trying to do is make up for bravery. If you are a brave man, and men know you are brave, and you've done brave things, and women know you are brave, and they know that if you're afraid, you will act anyway and do the right thing you're supposed to do to honor your ancestors and honor your bloodline. If they know that even if you are afraid, you will still make the brave choice and live with honor, then you don't have to be a caveman to women. You can be the nicest man on earth. You and I are extremely polite, extremely kind, especially to females. We're extremely nice and extremely kind, and nobody thinks we're punks and nobody thinks we're a bitch because they know that we are brave. If you've done genuinely brave things, you then get to go through the world and be an extremely nice person, and nobody will take you for granted. You're sitting at home saying nice guy finishes last. If you're nice to people, they take you for granted because you've never done anything brave. And then your niceness is respected, because if you're nice because you have no choice but to be nice, then it's not a choice. That's your default mode because you have no other capabilities. If women are so broken, how come every female I ever interact with is exceptionally nice? You are broken as men. Women are not broken. You are broken. And women are waking up, looking around at the men around them saying, why should I treat any of these men with respect? They're all cowards. They're all liars. The ones who want to come across as high value are nothing more than big mouths. They're sitting there running their mouth with no genuine capability, insulting people, belittling people, being rude, and they think that makes them high value. What have they done that genuinely makes them brave? What honor do they display? How do they make their ancestors proud of them? How do they show God they are the best possible versions of themselves? They don't do any of those things, and they're sitting here telling me that women are broken and I should be submissive to him. Why would I be submissive to an idiot like that? It's not women. It's completely and utterly your fault. Ego is extremely important. It's either a superpower or it's your detriment. If you have an ego that you work hard to justify, then it is a superpower. If you're egotistical and say, I deserve the best possible version of humanity and I want people to respect me, so I'm going to live a life and do things that make it impossible to disrespect me. I'm going to get in the cage and I'm going to win all my fights, and I'm going to work hard and drive the best car, and I have a nice big apartment, and I'm going to have important friends that allow me to do very important things, and I'm going to live a life of freedom because I believe I deserve that. That is a healthy ego which can help any man on earth. If you have an ego without those justifications, an ego you don't want to justify or have never justified and believe you're just special just because, when I see these men and they have a few million followers on YouTube and they think they're something, but really, truthfully, if you walk past them on the street, they ain't shit. They're toxically masculine. They have egos for very little reason but a number on a screen. They haven't done anything that's truly impressive. They haven't been out there and genuinely shown bravery. They can't sit in a room with me and impress me in nearly any way. They, if when push comes to shove, would fail against other men basically permanently. That is toxic masculinity. So an ego that you work hard to justify is a superpower. An ego which is unjustified is going to hold you back. You have to be very careful. You have to earn it. You have to wake up and say, you know what? I am the man. I'm going to show everyone. And then how do you show everybody you're the man? You make the brave choice. What did I say earlier about bravery? How it radiates on you, how it can be seen in your eyes. That is how you have an ego which is helpful to your life. And that's how you have an ego which actually genuinely exudes confidence as opposed to exuding insecurity. Next thing I want to talk about, we talk about something you said earlier was very important. And I've said this in many different podcasts, that men need to build themselves in every aspect to get women. When I talk about every aspect, everyone understands money and finance and being strong. And we talked about charisma. That's important. You also need to be likable. I don't know if many people have noticed that a lot of the people who are attacking women and insulting women and arguing with women, especially on the internet, aren't particularly likable. When I sit with women on Watch My Pearl podcast or Watch My Fresh and Fits, I say important things, but the women love me. They're laughing. They're joking. They're touching my arm. They all want to hang around with me. Afterwards, they're asking me to go party. They all ask for my phone number. I say the same things in a likable way. You also need to work on being likable. And that doesn't mean being a bitch. Doesn't mean being a cuck. It means doing the things we were saying earlier about exuding honor and bravery, etc. But being likable is a superpower. You need to work on yourself in all realms. Yes, your physical capability. Yes, your financial resource. Yes, your network. Yes, you need to have stories. You need to be charismatic, but you need to be likable as a person. I don't see many people on the internet right now who are men teaching men how to be men who are actually likable. I see a bunch of bitches complaining, want to be tough guys, big mouth without reason, whole bunch of dudes just fucking complaining all day about women, screaming at a microphone, acting like clowns, acting like children. They're not likable people. You need to be likable in the real world outside of the internet, and that is extremely important. Another thing people say is that women are emotional and men are logical, and this is true. I'm an exceptionally logical person, but you need to get through to people. You reach people through emotionality. When I talk, people feel motivated. The number of times people have said, if I listen to your podcast, I end up doing push-ups. We talk about you need to prioritize logic over emotions. Yes, as a man, you must be a logical person, and women are traditionally emotionally led. But you need to be able to inspire emotions in people. People say to me all the time, if I listen to one of your podcasts, I end up feeling motivated, my blood's on fire, and I want to do push-ups. No matter what I talk about. Right now, we're talking about masculinity. In our next podcast, we might talk about conspiracy theories. It doesn't matter what I talk about, but the way I deliver evokes an emotional response. If I can evoke an emotional response in men, imagine how I can evoke an emotional response in a female. Because she's an emotional creature. You think I can't make a woman feel excited? You can't think I make her want to come and see me or want to spend time with me? That's very important. Yes, you must be ultimately logical, but humans are all emotional, male and female, and you cannot exclude the emotional side of your delivery and the emotional side of your capability and your humanity. And this is why a lot of men act like cavemen and destroy their kindness, because they're scared to show emotionality because they're insecure and they're weak. But if you lose that emotional edge, if you lose the edge of the ability to be emotional or make people feel emotions, then you're always going to be a two-dimensional character. And that's very important. You can't do it. You lack emotionality if you're all about logic, and that means you lack genuine depth as a person. You need some depth as a person, so don't be afraid of your emotions, but control them, use them in the right way, learn how to make them benefit you, learn how to turn the right emotion on at the right time, choose the one you need for the current situation. Me and you can jump around and be happy and have fun and party, and we can also be extremely serious, and we can decide in real time. Emotions are extremely important. I don't like that a lot of men are out here saying, don't feel emotions. No, feel emotions, be stoic, control them, but you're a human. And as a human, you need to have some degree of emotionality about you, and women will respect you if you have a range of emotions that they can detect, that they know are used in the right way, at the right capability that you can control, that allow you to be the most competitive version of yourself. Everything as a man is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to become your best and brightest version of yourself. And you're not going to do that simply by talking it into existence. You need to live it into existence. You need to go out there and do things which are genuinely difficult, genuinely stressful, which are genuinely scary, so you can become the man you want to be. So you have to take responsibility for these things, and you have to seek them and choose and find the correct difficulties for you to overcome, so you can build a character worth having.